obligations to future retirees. We would have raised that issue years ago. Today, I'm telling you that we have had financial experts look at the OPEB numbers, and we believe those numbers are overstating the problem. We believe they're based on wrong assumptions. As stated in our current letters, we want the opportunity to sit down with management and the actuary and talk through the assumptions that underline the numbers you're looking at today. That decision cannot take place in 3-minute sound bites at the board meetings. It cannot take place in a confrontational situation where saving face is more important than finding common ground. It cannot take place at the bargaining table for legal reasons and for practical reasons. An analysis of OPEB unfunded liability does not belong in a labor agreement. It belongs in TriMet's financial plan. The 87% of the workforce don't want to win this argument. What they want is a reasonable and fair analysis of TriMet's financial situation. They want an analysis that they and the public can believe in. This is why we propose a joint work group comprised of TriMet financial experts, the current actuarial firm, union representatives, and our pension fund advisors. The purpose of the group is to review and validate underlying assumptions to all parties' satisfaction. Our goal for work group is simple: getting the right numbers, coming up with strategic financial plan that will guide TriMet into a future of stability, accountability, and quality service. In other words, if TriMet fails, we fail, and we all fail the community that we serve. And there's a problem there when we can't come together and realize that. Thank you.
Good comments, Bruce. Thank you very much. David?
Good morning, all. I'm David Kay. I'm a 30-year maintenance employee of the district. I come before you today with concern over what I'm hearing is planned for our pension. I think this is going to be a huge misstep. And as it stands, the proposal that the district has put forward puts them in the same situation as our United States Postal Service. Their defined benefit program and the funding thereof is in the process of bankrupting them because they're reaching out too far. In their case, you know, this was the Congress of the United States of America that brought about their issue. I see TriMet doing it to themselves. The defined pension program for the union is now a closed situation. The numbers are finite and reasonably easy to compute about what you're going to have to accomplish your goal. The move to accelerate the funding by sacrificing operational funding is going to be the kiss of death to this organization. You know, we're going to eliminate ourselves from the #1 ranked transit agency in the nation, and we're very close to this on a regular basis. Our maintenance program is what other properties wish they could be. It's also one of the top in the nation. The only apparent benefit that I can see for this proposed acceleration is as a savings account. You know, using TriMet's figures, we're looking at a proposed $1.53 billion surplus by 2024. This may even go higher because the death rate for transit employees is much higher than the national standard. I don't personally see a logical reason for this heavy escalation at the expense of our customers, not to mention my peers and union members. I'd like to suggest a very real reconsideration of the expansion of the contributions. This is near to my heart because I'm closing in on this. But I refuse to see my employer, my agency, my community damaged by running too fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good comments. We'll see what we can do about some out, non-public forums to have a dialogue about some of those things, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on here, I have Gary Nilsson and Al Margulies. Gary here?
He's there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Forgot the name, but that's okay. Go ahead, Sue. It's been so exciting for him today to listen to all you people talk about your business and,
Come on now, we wanna
being
see
in a
that's
fourth
really-
grader, taking him out of school so I could bring him down here to see just how you guys operate as human beings. But my concern is once again, I'm raising him. A lot of you guys weren't here when you were here. And I don't know if you were here. When I came the last couple of times, I went to the board meeting when they had the other people, and I said how hard it was for me as a retiree to raise a 9-year-old that was put in the position that I was put into. When I retired, I was doing okay, but each time TriMet continues with the management to keep taking away and upping my health insurance, I'm getting to the point where we're about ready to live under the bridge because I can't support this kid right here. I took him over because I was given a choice to either give him back to the state of Oregon or take him and adopt him. And I adopted him because my ex didn't want to take him. So I retired to take care of him. I've been taking care of him since he was 5. Little by little, every year, it gets to a point where I can't afford to take care of him. I can't get him in the baseball camps. I can't get him in the soccer. I haven't taken this kid to the dentist in a year because I can't afford to take him to the dentist because we have no health insurance for him when I retire. And how many grandparents and how many parents today are taking over their kids in this society, in this country, but can't afford to take care of because you've got people who are making over $100,000 a year that can afford all this stuff, but yet me making $2,400 a month, and then my health insurance goes up another $49, and after paying all my utilities and bills and everything I've got nothing for him. I don't have an ex that can help me out. I do it all on my own, and I will do it until I have to live under a bridge. But can you guys finally get to negotiating a contract? I mean, to me, a philosophy of a union is a union was only put in place so that the company that you work for wouldn't continue to keep stabbing you in the back. The only thing that bothers me is you guys seem to be wanting to get rid of the unions. And for what? Why can't you do what all you guys are doing with your business and everything? Why can't you come together at the table, come up with something? Let's get on with life so at least I can afford to take care of my child. Instead of bickering and fighting because the union wants this, the company wants to take all this away. Is anybody else taking anything away here? Are you guys taking anything? I'm sure you pay health insurance, but you're not paying as much as I am. I can afford myself. I'm a veteran. I can go to the VA and they'll take care of me. But I have him, at least until he's 18 years of age. So when I go on Medicare, it's no big deal. I still have to pay the amount of money that I have to pay a month to raise him until he's, and then it's going to get to a point, if you guys can't come together on a contract as adults, what am I supposed to teach him in looking that adults can't seem to work with adults? I mean, you got so many takeaways that it's going to take you guys forever to come up with some sort of contract. Why can't 2 adults get together and say, you know what, we want this, and come to some kind of common ground like you do here all the time on resolutions, and come to a contract where we all can live in harmony instead of fighting each other all the time, and I can make a better life for my son, because right now I can't do anything for him but just have a place for him to stay. Thank God I got that. Can you guys maybe, instead of trying to bust our union, work together with us instead of against us, and maybe come up with some sort of thing so that we're not sitting here constantly fighting with each other all the time? What are we, Republicans and Democrats that can't ever, if those 2 people could work together, we'd have a better country to live in, as far as I'm concerned. But there's always so much fighting going on that this country can't ever get it together, and really the most important people are the Americans. The most important people you have at TriMet are us employees and retirees. I put 31 years with this company. Don't I deserve something to take care of my kid? If I was all by myself, it would be great, but I don't. come to the table, do something, and maybe come up with like maybe Providence or Aetna or some other health insurance that might be a little bit cheaper for us that I can afford, and maybe come up with some sort of dental thing so I can take my son to the dentist and not have his teeth all rotten out because I can't afford it after paying all my other bills? I'm sorry, I appreciate you guys listening to me, but this is the most important, and this is the kids that are gonna grow up with whatever future you guys decide for them. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to ask Jennifer Anderson, is that Anderson, to also come up.
Al Margulies back again. You know, Mr. McFarland, when I look at you and I'm here in person, you don't appear to be anything like the man I represent you as on my blog. You seem perfectly like a reasonable, nice guy. But yet, all of these things that have been happening since you've been here are pretty crazy, okay? And I don't understand, either you don't know or they're not telling you or something. You don't seem like the kind of man that would perpetuate this kind of stuff. The first thing I have here, Mr. McFarland, is a judgment against me ordering me to pay you $150 for one of the lawsuits that I lost. So I'll make a deal with you. I'll pay you your $150 if you pay me back for my health insurance that you stole from us in the year 2009 and 2010. So that's the first thing I want to say. I'll give you your money if you give me mine. And the second thing I want to say is just when I think that TriMet can't get any lower in the way they do things, we have this situation with Lane Jensen. Okay, I know he was a pain. Everybody know he was annoying. But the way you're handling this is really off the edge, okay? It's really, what have you gone off the deep end, you know, 10 years in jail for an annoying pain in the neck? Really, it shocked even me that this kind of thing would have happened. I mean, I always expect the worst too, but that? So really, can you please come up a little bit in the way you're doing business and stop using this hammer to deal with people that you don't appreciate? That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Jennifer, Chris Walker, you want to come up too while you're...
Sorry, I was really moved by our retired operator there. I wanted to speak about the contract too. I don't know if you are aware that, you probably are, but TriMet's offer of taking away our sick time. Right now we get, I think, 108 hours a year. TriMet would like to break that down to 40 a year, or you're fired, and you're fired. I've got 3 kids. Yes, I have FMLA. Yes, I have OFLA. But you know what? Sometimes a kid gets sick for one day. Sometimes I get sick for one day. That's not covered. If I work a 12-hour shift for my week, that's 3 days that I've lost. I'm fired. How is this fair to your employees? Why do you give us a benefit that we can't use? 108 hours, we're supposed to be able to use 108 hours. You want to take that down to 40 for a full-time employee and work us 12 to 13 hours? I love my job. I'm a single mom of 3 kids. I can't lose this job. That could make me lose this job. It's not a service to your public. It's not a service to your employees either. These takeaways need to be addressed. And you all need to know that this is the face that those takeaways are affecting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I heard Chris had to leave, is that right? Okay. So Teresa Soto and Andrea Dobkor? Oh, there we go. Thanks, Dobson.
Good morning. Is it still morning? Good
Barely.
morning, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Andrea Dobson. I retired from TriMet in 2004 as the Manager of Maintenance Support Services. In my 30 years at TriMet, I was a helper, which we now call a service worker. I was a bus mechanic. I was an instructor, and served as the Manager of Maintenance Training. As my title and my duties expanded, still my primary focus was on training and on managing our nationally recognized state-registered apprenticeship program for bus mechanics. And that is why I'm here today to talk about some proposals that are absolutely appalling coming from the bargaining table to change completely the direction of that training. When I retired from TriMet, I had the privilege of traveling around the country for a National Transit Institute, which is federally financed out of Rutgers University. I went all over the country to teach the workplace safety program and to help other transit agencies improve their training. As I traveled around, I found out that TriMet's maintenance program and maintenance training are nationally respected. Everyone knows about us. Everyone envies us. Everyone wishes they had our program. As one of the ways that the Federal Transit Administration audits the maintenance department is they look at our miles between road calls. Since they give us the money to buy the buses, they want to make sure we're taking good care of them. And the standard for as long as I can remember was 6,000 miles between road calls. As I traveled around, I talked to agencies where they were bragging that they had raised their road call mileage from 4,000 miles to 4,500. I talked to one agency where I asked them what their road call mileage was, and they said, "Do you mean you want the numbers that are real or the ones that we give to the FTA?" People are struggling to reach this standard. My numbers are a little rusty because I've been retired for 10 years, but the last time I looked, TriMet's road call mileage was between 18 and 20,000. And that was not from cooking the books, that was from the hard work and the creativity of our well-trained workforce. And now I'm seeing proposals to change the way that we screen people into the program and the way that we run the program to save money in a highly specialized and highly technical field like bus maintenance. Training is not a cost. Training is an investment in your future productivity and your future workforce development. Thank you. So I'm very unhappy to hear that those changes are being proposed. I think it's very short-sighted.
Buenos días. My name is Teresa Keishi Soto. I'm a member of Bus Riders Unite, and I ride buses 9, 14, 71, 17, 4. Last night I rode the 15, and I also ride the MAX. President Warner, you told us in September that the TriMet board would get back to us regarding your decision on the campaign for a fair transfer, in order to continue to foster a working, honest, and cooperative relationship between BRU and TriMet. It is incumbent upon you and the rest of the board to let us know what you have decided. The addition of 1 more hour of transfer time would do a great deal to lift the morale and reduce the daily struggles of all of those living in poverty in our region. According to your very own statistics, 46% of the people that round trip on a single fare come from households at or below the poverty line, 46%. And 73%, or almost 3 out of every people who round trip on a single fare, are low income. This means that they're living just barely above the poverty line. You, all of you, have the power to make a difference in our lives. The addition of that 1 hour would help change the current attitude among bus riders who believe that TriMet doesn't care about us. Bus riders need a positive response from you, the TriMet board, so that the commitment that TriMet has openly made to equity is more than words and is reflected in a tangible result. We bus riders, and this includes riders outside the BRU, have been asking for this 1 more hour since the spring of 2011. TriMet's efforts to engage transit-dependent riders needs to include giving bus riders 1 more hour of transfer time. We have told you that this is what we require because we know our struggles best. Our struggle is a struggle just to exist, to get to work, buy food, and live our lives. I am here to represent those of us who are dependent on the bus for everything. I am asking you to stand with us and show us bus riders that you really care. Meetings with Mr. McFarland, the TriMet Riders Club, and holding community forums do not mitigate or lessen the stress of the typical transit-dependent bus rider. Meeting with riders is great. We need you to prove that you are listening, and we need for you to act on our behalf. TriMet, you can be the very best. I have always said this, and I really believe it. And I'm here to help you, and I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Colin Cartwright and Anthony Forrester. Okay, thank you. How about Shirley Block? Go ahead, please.
I express great concern about everybody around here, but at the same time, there's also people who are always, like, darting out in front of buses or darting out in front of Max or Wes. And it seems kind of illogical to kind of compensate when you're trying to make someone safe when you're basically in a world where there's infinite ways to die. But at the same time, there's only so much that you guys can do in terms of like transit and what am I gonna say? You guys aren't always, you guys can't detect when someone's gonna like jump out in front of you or when someone's gonna veer into your lane. You cannot tell that much just by observing what's going on around you. Like if you're trying to pay attention to the road, it doesn't seem right for someone to have to pay for someone else's actions when the bus driver's just doing their job. It does not make any sense that TriMet should have to pay for having to fix someone who got hurt because the driver wasn't paying attention and they got hurt. It should not happen like that. It should happen that the person who jumped out in front of you should be responsible, not the person who was driving the bus. When someone decides that they're just going to jump out in front of you like a maniac, who's to be responsible, the driver or the person who's doing the jumping? And I say it's got to be the fault of the person who's jumping because they're not paying an ounce of attention. I've seen a lot of accidents where people on Max or Bus or Wes, they're just not paying attention. They're thinking that there's no train coming. They're thinking that they can just do whatever they want, and they trespass on railroad tracks. They jump out in front of buses. And I've seen my fair share of people who are just standing there right just to watch what happens. Like if it gets them hurt, if it gets them killed. And you guys should not have to suffer for it. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Please.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, there we go.
My name is Shirley Block, and I've been at TriMet for about almost 32 years. I'm speaking to you in the capacity as an executive board officer for the union. I am here to talk about safety concerns. A few years back, the union went to great length to warn TriMet that the clutter in the front left windshield corner blocked the vision of short status drivers when they made left-hand turns. We asked for specialized training, and we were ignored. A few years later, a short status driver turned left, 2 people died, 3 more were injured. TriMet paid out millions of dollars. It also brought hundreds of new buses with more clutter in that left front corner. Today, we have 40 road and rail supervisors who have been ordered to confront passengers and demand to see their fare. After years of being helpful, friendly, assistant faces of TriMet to passengers and operators, they are told they have to do fare enforcement. This is a task for which the actual fare inspector received 6 weeks plus training. The supervisor received no such training, and they have no training in how to project themselves of confidence, diffuse potentially violent situations, to deal with the mentally ill in a confrontational setting, and God knows there's a lot of those, to get themselves out of an assault situation, to back up each other and work as partners, how to respond to an angry person who had just been handed a citation for $175. The new radio system isn't working regardless of what's being put out there, and there aren't enough dispatchers on duty to respond to supervisors who call for help. And even after the call goes out, police will arrive to the scene after the person has been punched, after he had been bit or kicked, after he had been knifed or gunshot. Since these untrained supervisors have been forced into performing this new task, the following has happened. 8 supervisors have been threatened with discipline because they failed to handle a situation. 1 supervisor has been demoted. 1 has been spat on. Several has been shoved down to the ground. Why are these people being asked to perform a task which they are like training in? We think this happens too often at TriMet. We think this happens too often at TriMet these days. It is a simple fix. Its PR department can put out press release claiming hours of fare inspection. In the past, fare inspectors, if a supervisor is injured or killed, whose fault will it be? And I wish that our general manager would have also updated everybody on the INET system. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. All right, I have Nicole Johnson and Jack Lovell. Those are the last 2. Nicole, I believe, is Jack Lovell here?
I think he just ran out to grab his phone, it was plugged in, and poked his head in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, she should be in there.
Was that, did I miss one?
She should be in there.
The lady in the pink here.
Come on up.
Lady in the pink.
Pink, though. trying to identify who you are. I did not mean any offense at that way.
I love pink.
You took it that way. I am
I
sorry.
love pink. That's why I'm wearing it. Go ahead. Okay. Hi, my name is Mary Longoria. I worked at TriMet for 15 years and am currently the financial secretary for the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 757. I am speaking to the board today to clear up a misperception regarding the 87% of TriMet workforce who are the members of the Amalgamated Transit Union. Many of the TriMet's press releases and public statements made by executive management seem intended to have the news media and the community believe that we are out to bankrupt the agency. Nothing could be further from the truth. Fact is, if TriMet fails, we all fail. Our livelihoods and the financial security of our families are tied directly to the safety, quality, and service that our riders expect every day. We get it. We realize the cost of health care and retirement must be balanced. We should be working together to find solutions that work for ATU members, TriMet, and the community that we all serve. As my brother said, there are other options besides Regents and Kaiser. This includes responsible spending to maintain and improve the system while increasing ridership and service. From our standpoint, many of TriMet's spending decisions has fallen short of being responsible. TriMet spent $35 million on a new radio dispatch system. The system was installed over a year ago and has yet to be fully functional or able to replace the old system. Some of the problems with it is putting the public and our operators in harm's way. The cost of new fare machines on buses has continued to increase well beyond the initial price tag. New buses are delivered and held from service for weeks while they get an $11,000 nose job. Plastic caps that are being installed so the buses resemble MAX trains. This is a cosmetic want, not a need. When the agency spends more money than it needs to or purchases expensive systems that don't work, management needs to accept its share of the responsibility for TriMet's financial problems. We note that TriMet frequently brags about being rated #1 in service and performance. Yet somehow the connection between treating employees with respect and providing great customer service to our customers has been lost. That connection needs to be reestablished. One of the best ways to accomplish this will be to include experienced employees in the decision-making process, including but not limited to buying new buses, investing in communication technology, safety equipment, along with the day-to-day communication with frontline workers on what is working and what is not, so together we can find a solution. We must also include organizations like Opal and Bus Riders United and the riders themselves. We believe that putting TriMet on track for a sustainable future for the community requires the agency to stop treating its workforce as the problem and start recognizing that we are part of the solution. As I said earlier, we get it, and we hope TriMet does too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing that. Go ahead.
Okay, so list by list. The Max Red Line needs to extend to Hillsborough because you have, I did the math, 1925, 14 stops added. You could drop it at Gelwin Field, train there, Beaverton TC. They can shoot out at Merlot Yard. The point being, you go there, even in the morning, red line, if you're at Merlot Park, red line. Well, on the track, that's on the blue line. And then all the, the blue line breaks down, out of service. And if you're coming back that way, the farthest you can go is, well, I did counting at Merlot, there'll be 3 Max trains, 3 blue trains going past the Merlot, and the 4th one will be a Max, another one. So you go wait 3 more trains. So everything together, you could add that. And then adding, I'm going to say, is you make the blue line, you stop at a Galleria and make a U-turn. You know, and then if you want to, you can hop on a streetcar. If that, red line is full, you can hop on the streetcar, go over to Columbia, transfer there to those bus lines. Even if you don't catch the 58 Canyon Road, you get off at Goose Hollow, then you get on to the red line. So because the blue line is too long, so it needs to be into red line that distance. And then part of the max, you gotta have attendants on there, because then you're gonna stop asking for questions, directions, and then like I said, people saying problems on max, incidents. Well, you have to Amtrak and the flight. They have attendants. Amtrak has attendants. They're rail. The max is rail, just like Amtrak. So you put attendants on there. And then you don't need law enforcement, police to check the fares. Because all the gear they have, everything for them to check fares. Everything, all the gear, the guns, the ammo, weapons, everything, all of them for check fares. More times it happens that they don't use that stuff that's on them than they do. More times it doesn't. If you weren't that, you can even get your TriMet security. Your gear he has on there, that's good enough. And I heard you only have five fare inspectors when you had 20 before. So, yeah, fare inspectors do it. They're a fare inspector, they do the fare inspection. And then, lists. Oh, and then, this side note, the name proposing for the bridge, just name it Portland Milwaukee Light Rail Bridge. That's what the name is, Portland Milwaukee Light Rail Bridge.
Have you suggested that yet?
No, it's the other, because you require a name, you require a phone number and email comment. Your name and your phone, well, your name, what's the name, but phone number and email, it doesn't need to be on there. Put a name, you don't need to ask, first put their name and email, because it goes to the public. The public for your comment doesn't need to know your phone number and email for that. So that's why I went in person to the office. So the name is Portland Light Rail Bridge.
Hard to argue.
And then, yeah. And then your guys' pay, I know it's a separate issue, but point being, like I said, this triple-digit pay, all this together, honestly, you guys aren't passing. You don't deserve triple-digit. Even pay, triple-digit. Hey, you want to look, here, I got the tax rate, because it's tied in upper class. You do a linear rate, all the taxes together, you've been lower. No, it's in regards to the pay. It's equivalent to pay and explaining. Because not, your people below you are doing their jobs, but you're not. And you're at the top. So you don't deserve triple pay. And then another thing, and I was looking to, you guys are hiring. I was looking to, for apply. I was just thinking about, that's, one reason I was here. So, apply for TriMet bus drivers. But like I said, everything points together. There's a hierarchy. You guys are at the top. You do the decisions and all that. But if you're not going with the hierarchy, then how the ones below you can go along? How can they do it? So, yeah, you guys talk about, but it's really sad. And actually, a definition. Like I said last meeting, I don't know if you remember how I said.
You're about to wrap up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, last meeting, I don't know if you remember me, I said, you guys aren't a business. You're government, public government, transit. You're public service, not business, but you run as a business. Like I said, a post office, same thing. It's structured as a government, but run as a business. Even Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon. And you talk about contract. Your contract is in this contract, the ultimate contract. Preamble Declaration of Independence. Because you got to talk about contract and, yeah, so it's